Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined.
Yo, what it do? It's your boy Danny. Welcome to another episode. Welcome everybody to an episode of Danny's Dimensions. First of all, before we get into the particulars about what we're about to talk to, just want to let you guys know to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification, support your boys, support your channel. Thank you for all those guys that have subscribed to the channel already. I'm looking for more subscribers, so show your boy some love, show your boy some support. Also, I want to get a shout out to Coach Rob, and a shout out to Johnny, a shout out to Adrian, the guys who was on the panel last time. Also, a shout out to Prince. He was also on the podcast last time. Rob wasn't on the podcast last time, but he's a frequent visitor of the podcast. So to look up these guys, facebook.com, MOW Boxing for my boy Coach Rob, for my boy Johnny, Southport for Life, 91. And without further ado, let's get into it, man. You know what I'm saying? We got a lot of stuff to talk about. You know what time it is, man. We're going to get into it. So let's get into it. First thing we're going to talk about, as we see in the background, we got Deontay Wilder versus Wilder-Helenius. You guys saw the fight last week, this past last Saturday. Deontay Wilder had a first-round knockout of Wilder-Helenius. And the numbers came in this week for that fight. And it did actually less than I actually thought it would. There's a lot of people out there who support Deontay Wilder. So I was kind of surprised that the fight didn't do what I thought it would, what it should have done for those who actually support Deontay Wilder. It didn't do what it was supposed to do. Especially being the fact that Tyson Fury, when he fought Tyson Fury the last time, the third time, he got 600K pay-per-view buys. The previous fight did about 800K. This fight did a whopping, I repeat, a whopping 77K. The reported number is 77K. 77K. So it didn't even do half. It didn't even do half of what he did for Tyson Fury. I can't believe it. So that just goes to show you that Wilder is not a draw. He's not the draw that a lot of his fans say he is. And a lot of you fans are out here, you Wilder fans are out here illegally streaming fights. But yet this is the guy you claim to support. So let me get into it real quick. I think Rick Glacier said something here. So let me get into it and talk about what Rick Glacier said, right? So let's get into the Rick Glacier comment. Let's see here. Because you guys, you know, a lot of the times you got people. Now here it is. Here's what he says, right? Wilder-Helenius pay-per-view buys isn't as bad as anticipated. What do you mean it's not as bad as anticipated? So you anticipated worse than 77,000? Or I did a total of 77,000 homes. That's good for a comeback fight. That shouldn't even have been on pay-per-view. With the WBC ordering Wilder-Helenius, if that fight happens, it's a pay-per-view fight that PBC can proudly hang their hat on. Hashtag boxing. So this is what I have to say in regards to Rick Glacier's comments here. Right? 77,000 is pretty bad. I don't care what anybody says. 77,000 pay-per-view buys for a fight that nobody was asking for. Nobody was asking for as far as a pay-per-view match. I actually thought, like I said, it would do 300 buys. I'm going to send the link in the chat for people to join the panel, right? I'm going to put the link in the comments for people to join. So if you want to join, you want to talk about this, go ahead. I'm trying to get Rob on here. I'm trying to get Adrian on here. I'm trying to get Johnny on here. So, hold on just 1 second, guys. Let me go ahead and send it to the chat. Because I want these guys to talk about this, man. So I'm going to send a link to the people in the chat on my personal chat. And I'm also sending a link to the comment section. So if you guys want to talk about that, you can talk about it. But also, let's see. Also, in other news, because we're not going to just talk about Deontay Wilder, but they're going to talk about that as well when they get in here. Savannah Marshall, Clarissa Shields versus Savannah Marshall. Now that, you want to know how many buys that did? I'm going to show you guys real quick how many buys that did. It was absolutely groundbreaking for women's boxing. So let me go ahead and do this. Let me show you this real quick. Put this up on the screen and show you how many buys this fight did. Bink. Read it and weep. Look at that. 2 million fans tuned in. The most watched women's professional boxing event in the history of boxing. So congratulations to Savannah Marshall. Congratulations to the self-proclaimed GOAT, Clarissa Shields, whose resume is undeniable, and she's one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the sport of women's boxing. And congratulations to Alicia Baumgardner. Congratulations to Michaela Mayer. Congratulations to these guys for making this happen. So I got to give a shout out to you guys. Thank you guys for doing what you did. Women's boxing is back. It's on the front. Well, I can't even say it's back. It started off with Christy Martin. She put women's boxing on the map. Then you have Mia St. John, Layla Ali, but it's never for 2 million fans to tune in. And I believe these are the fans from the UK. And this is why I say, like, a lot of the fans in the UK, man, they're very much passionate fans. They come in there and they tune in. You know, some of you guys that's in the US, you sit there and you say you support these fighters, but you don't pay for nothing. You don't pay for nothing. You illegally stream things, but yet you say you love Wilder, you love Spence, you love Tank Davis, you love these guys, but you don't want to, contribute to them because you're broke. And not only that, because you don't watch nothing. But yet, and some of you can't even name their biggest wins. If I go out there and I tell you what's Deontay Wilder's best win, what's the guy that he beats best win? A lot of y'all can't even say it because a lot of you there's a lot of casuals out there. And some of you say some of the dumbest stuff that come out of your mouth. But congratulations. It was a great show. a competitive fight between Savannah Marshall and Clarissa Shields. But Clarissa did her thing, man. She made it. She clearly won the fight, as did Alicia Baumgartner, 6-4. I had it 6-4. So those metrics are staggering and great for the sport. Now, to get on to what I really want to talk about, I'm trying to get these people in the panel. So let me try to get these people in the panel. If they don't, you guys want to come in, you can come in. Let's see. Let me text my homeboys and because I want them to talk about this because they've been having a lot to say about it. And if not, it is what it is. But I'm gonna speak my piece on this. So Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, as you know, is off. The fight is off, as you boxing fans know. It's not going to happen. They're talking about it happening next year sometime. And there's a lot of blame game going on. And in my particular opinion, you can't sit there and blame Terrence Crawford for the reason why this fight is happening. How could you blame that? The reason why they want to blame it because Crawford is going to be fighting David Avanesyan in December. He's going to be fighting David Avanesyan in December. And I don't know too much about David Avanesyan other than the fact that he beat past his prime Sugar Shane Mosley. So I don't know too much about that guy other than that. And the fact that he's a top 10 he's top 10 in the welterweight division at this point. Now, whether he deserves that ranking is another subject matter, whether he deserves that ranking. But the fact of the matter is he is a top 10. Actually, he's ranked number 10 as a light heavyweight. I mean, as a welterweight, I should say, not a light heavyweight. So here's some news here to share with you guys. I'm going to read this for you. So here's the thing. Welterweight Terrence Crawford, welterweight title holder Terrence Crawford and David Avanesyan have signed contracts for a pay-per-view fight on December 10th at the Shai Health Center in the Champions Native Omaha, Nebraska. Crawford told ESPN on Thursday. The fight will be available on BLK Prime. I don't know what BLK Prime is. Apparently, I looked into it a little bit, but it's like an app. I don't know. For $39.95, a spokesperson for the streaming service told ESPN Crawford will earn a career-high 8-figure payday. Now, for those of you that are saying that, well, oh wow, he's getting 8-figure payday for David Avanesyan. How is that possible? Hey, if he's going to get his bread, he's going to get his bread. Don't hate on him for getting his bread. I'm hearing sources that are saying it's going to be $10 million for Terrence Crawford for this fight against David Avanesyan. That's the sources that I'm hearing. So, with that being said, hey, if he wants to get his bread, let the man do what he got to do. So let me continue. Crawford remains in talks to fight Errol Spence Jr. for the undisputed 147-pound championship when it became clear to Crawford that PBC was now targeting the first quarter of 2023 for that fight. He decided to push forward with a title defense to ensure he, like Spence, fought at least once in 2022. Now, people will criticize Terrence Crawford for doing that. They're criticizing him for actually staying active. I don't understand that. Now, there's people who will say that Terrence Crawford ducked Errol Spence to fight David Avanesyan. That's not the case. That's not the case. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to talk more into it because that's not the case. Spence and Crawford are still motivated to strike a deal, sources said, with both fighters fighting in their primes and peaking. All right. The welterweight summing meeting stands as one of the biggest commercial fights in the sport. Well, not as much at this point. I'll be shocked. Be honest with you guys. I'm going to be shocked if this fight does more than 400 buys. 400K pay-per-view buys. I'll be surprised if it does over 400. Over 400K. At this point, and I've stated this many times, at this point, I think the fight has lost its luster. I mean, it's almost like, all this waiting, all this negotiations, all this stuff that's been going on has really like dulled everything, and people are getting tired of it. Regardless of whether you think it's Terrence Crawford who's ducking or whether you think Errol Spence is the one that's doing it. But in my opinion, I can't say Terrence Crawford is doing it. I don't believe that Terrence Crawford is doing it. So here's more. This is what Crawford said. I'm excited about this opportunity. I was looking forward to Errol Spence fight. I started communicating with boxing manager Al Heyman and PBC back in June. And unfortunately, they represent a fighter, Errol Spence, who didn't want the fight as bad as I did. I agreed to all their BS, and they've been dragging their ass for months. Spence was nowhere to be found when I was trying to make the deal, Crawford continued. I explained to Al Heyman and Errol that I was going to fight before the end of the year. So he already told them that regardless of you, I'm going to fight at the end of the year. David-Avanesyan is a very tough task. He's knocked out his last six opponents, and this guy's dangerous. Once I'm successful against David-Avanesyan, my plan is still the same. Whoop, Errol Spence at. So, and here's the thing. He acquiesced, right, to the short end of the financial split for the clash with Spence, who was aligned with Heyman's PBC. Now, the thing is, the fact of the matter is, there is no guaranteed purse for Terrence Crawford. So he wanted to have transparency for the revenue. He wants transparency related to event expenses. The contract has no guaranteed purse. And here's my thing. You had enough. You had enough money to give Sean Porter, Mikey Garcia, Yordanis Ugas. You had enough money to give all these people, but you don't have enough money for Crawford. But you claim to be an A-side fighter, right? And this is what I go back to. When Caleb Plant fought Canelo Alvarez, he was paid $10 million, which was the highest payday of his entire career. Why? Because that's what I've said this before on the show. That's what A-side, that's what cash cow people do, right? So he would rather earn, this is the thing, Crawford would rather earn a percentage of the net revenue, so he requested the ability to approve expenses as a partner in the event. So the sides were unable to solve it in a timely fashion, Crawford decided to seek a different opponent rather than wait on PBC. And people are criticizing him for doing that. They're criticizing this man for doing it. I don't understand. I don't understand how you can criticize this man for doing what he's doing. So you rather him wait for Errol Spence. You rather him wait for Errol Spence than to do this. And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't understand what the problem is and why people think that this man is ducking. That's why I said I wanted to get these people on here. I think they might be busy, but it's all good because I'm here and it's my show. And I'm gonna say what I gotta say about it. And that's how I feel. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's not just about how I feel. It's just the fact that it's facts. Facts don't care about feelings. You know what I'm saying? That's the reality of the situation, right? Terrence Crawford did not duck him. You expect him to wait on Errol Spence for what? What is he waiting on Errol Spence for? Why is he waiting on Errol Spence? For what? Errol fought this year. Terrence Crawford is the one that needs to get the tune and gets the tune up so he can stay sharp so he can fight Errol Spence. But yet and still, he was gonna fight at that point regardless. And Floyd Mayweather, according to this article, Floyd Mayweather said last week or a month ago that this fight wasn't going to happen until next year. Floyd Mayweather, who was in conjunction with Al Heyman, he's the one that said that this fight wasn't going to happen. So what do you expect Crawford to do? Just wait for Errol Spence? Now I have something else. I have something else to show you guys as well. I have something else to show you guys, right? See, I like to bring the facts into the play, whereas there can be no disputing. There can be no disputing, right? None whatsoever. Let's see. Now look at this one. Key says, right? He said, now Spence is saying that he wants to fight Terence Crawford next, regardless. He's saying that Terence Crawford is ducking. So this article, this post, I should say, it's not even an article, it's a post from the source of Keith. I don't even know how to say his last name. I'm not even gonna hold you. I'm not even gonna try. But he says, although he can revisit negotiations to fight Crawford sometime next year, Ben told Errol Spence Jr. He's been told Errol Spence Jr. will definitely face someone other than Crawford next. I thought he was fighting Crawford next. See, it seems like he's trying to use this as an excuse. The fact that Crawford's fighting David Avanesyan, he's trying to use it as an excuse to not face Crawford. Is that the case? So two of the names to keep in mind for Spence are Keith Thurman and Stanionis. Stanionis is the number one contender for the WBC. Number one contender for the WBC. So you mean to tell me that although you were talking all this trash, saying that Terence Crawford doesn't want to fight, you talked all this trash, all this garbage out your mouth, talking all that trash, saying Terence Crawford don't want to fight. He don't want to fight. I tried to make the fight. He don't want to fight. Your promoter is sitting here giving him, not giving him a base pay, no guaranteed pay. And people want to act like it's so far-fetched for him to ask for, transparency with the revenue. I mean, you got to give me something substantial. You're not going to just give me peanuts. And then now we got this Black Prime thing where Terence Crawford is fighting David Avanesyan in Omaha for $39.95. And people are criticizing him for fighting David Avanesyan because he has the audacity. He has the audacity to stay busy. He told them. You saw it. He told them that he was going to fight at the end of the year, regardless of what happened. So what's the problem? What is the problem here? What is the problem here? That's the thing. What is the absolute problem here? What's the problem? Why is it such a problem? The reason why it's a problem is because, you got all these people on these boxing social media groups, and they're going around and they're saying that that Terence Crawford is ducking. Terence Crawford is doesn't want the fight. But when you look into the intricacies of everything, and you look at the facts, because you can't just believe one side. You can't just believe one side when it comes out in a situation like this. You got to believe the facts. You got to look at the facts. But the people out here are out here looking at Errol Spence and what he's saying and treating it as if it's gospel. That's not the truth. That's not the case, man. Not at all. So that it just doesn't make sense to me why people will continue to do that. But personally, I don't think this fight's going to happen, period. And based on what that says, I definitely don't think it's going to happen. There's no reason to think that it's going to happen. There's no reason for me to think that this fight is going to happen. I'm pretty much done with it as far as I'm concerned. Because when you have people saying these type of things, so here's what Rick Glacier had to say, right? For those thinking that Terrence Crawford is at fault for not fighting Spence, you're mistaken. Crawford retained a second attorney to make it happen. And Heyman threw up so many roadblocks and stall tactics for over 5 months. So Crawford realized this isn't happening and simply moved on. So how are you going to say Terrence Crawford is ducking based on this? See, I gotta give y'all the facts. I gotta give y'all the facts. And people will still have the facts in front of them and still they choose not to believe it because they want to believe their own hidden agenda and they want to believe what they want to believe. So believe what you want to believe. But I believe the facts over everything, that your opinion of what you think and how you feel. Period. That's just how it is. If you don't like it, it's tough. It's what it is. The man said Terrence Crawford is ducking, but yet and still he's talking about fighting somebody else. But if you were going to fight him in early 2023, February, March, how is that going to happen if you're talking about fighting somebody else like a Thurman or a, how is that going to happen? Or Stanionis? How is that going to happen? There's no way that can happen. So, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with that. My opinion is this fight ain't happening. Point blank, period. That's just what it is. It's not happening. Point blank, period. So, in other news, Tyson Fury is going to fight Derek Chisora for the third time. And yes, that's another fight. Oh, go figure. Another fight that we didn't ask for. Another fight we didn't ask for. Now, on one of my previous shows, I told you guys about how Tyson Fury was using AJ's name to build a fight with him to set up a Manuel Char fight. Well, he's not fighting Manuel Char. He is fighting. He's fighting Derek Chisora, which nobody's asking for, but the British public do like Derek Chisora. So here we go. That's what's going on. The British public like Derek Chisora. That's why this fight is happening. Because the British public likes Chisora. So here we go. We have Tyson Fury versus Derek Chisora. Here's something funny that Derek Chisora said here on his Instagram, right? He made some comments. Let me read this one. He said, I think Tyson Fury wants to have sex with Anthony Joshua because he's so obsessed with him. That's what Derek Chisora has been saying. So here's something on his Instagram on what he's been saying. And what I've been pretty much saying the whole time.
February, AJ was done. We have to understand AJ's sponsorship comes so many, so they realized they could not agree on that situation. They said, okay, we help, but Tyson, I think Tyson loves AJ because AJ literally had his head for rent free right now. Because every minute Jimmy's talking a bodybuilder, that bodybuilder, he lost the fight. He's always Tyson. Even Tyson when he wakes up, AJ. AJ's on his own mind every day because he was trying to rush this.
So, you heard it first. Tyson Fury has AJ on his mind every day in promotion for this fight. He's still thinking about AJ. Why would he be thinking about AJ? Because AJ brings the money. AJ brings the revenue. That's why he's thinking about AJ. That's why he's thinking about AJ. Because AJ brings the money, he brings the revenue, he brings the prestige. He's more of a cash cow than Tyson Fury, and I believe Tyson Fury is a little bit jealous of AJ. And you know, there's some things in Derek Chisora's contract where he has a gag order on his contract. Why would a man have a gag order on his contract? Because he's close with AJ. So there's probably some things that he knows that they say he can't speak on. That's telling right there. So like I said, I mean, we didn't ask for this fight, but Derek Chisora, he comes to fight. He's a warrior, and the UK fans, they love Derek Chisora. He comes to fight every single night. Every single night, Derek Chisora is going to bring it. He gonna bring it. He gonna bring it. Do I think he wins this fight? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I don't think that Derek Chisora wins this fight. Here's something funny. Like I said, Derek Chisora said that Tyson Fury wants to have sex with AJ. So I'm going to pull up this article that he said. I'm going to pull up this. Because the thing is, man, it's crazy. It really is crazy how someone could be that obsessed with another man. So here it is. So here's Tyson Fury. Now this is a bizarre joke from The Sun in the UK. Shout out to the UK. Del Boy, a.k.a. War, Derek Chisora, believes that AJ is living in Fury's head rent-free because of how much the Gypsy King talks about him. You're here to promote a fight with Chisora, and you're talking about AJ still. So they're going to be fighting December 3rd. Since there's no other fights, I guess I'll be able to break down this fight, live as it happens. No audio, no video. Join me then. I'll be able to break down this and the Terrence Crawford versus David Avanesyan fight. So I want to see how good Crawford looks in that fight. But back to this, right? Fury was vocal in calling out Joshua as the pair agreed to the fight, even posted hourly updates trying to coax AJ to a fight. Basically, he tried to, we know what he did. We know he tried to say he had a contract for 2 weeks, and he lied that they didn't have that contract. They only had it for a week. And then when they sent it back to you, you canceled the fight, and then you came back and said, oh, let's fight. Tyson Fury, we know, is not mentally stable. He's bipolar. He's retired. Then he fights. Then he wants to fight Chisora. Then he wants to supposedly fight AJ. Then he say AJ's ducking. Then he tried to put a deadline to sign the contract when you know that's not how contracts work. Then you say you have a contract for 2 weeks when you didn't have the contract for 2 weeks. Then somebody sends you the contract. Then you say, I don't want it. Then you go back and you set another deadline. And now you're fighting after that fell through. Now you're fighting Derek Chisora again. Okay. All these mind games that he's playing. That's what it is. It's mind games. So he told IFL TV, he said, I think Tyson mentally, physically wants to have sex with AJ because AJ's been living in Tyson's head for the last 10 years for rent-free. Every day is what's the bodybuilder doing. He don't want to fight or why. He's got a thing for AJ. He fancies AJ. I don't blame him. AJ's a good-looking boy. He also went on to say when he was making love to Paris that he thinks about AJ, Paris Fury, his wife. So, like I said, man, I don't take any big stock into this fight as far as Chisora winning, but I know he's going to give it his all. I got Fury winning probably by knockout. This fight would be better if Tyson Fury didn't beat Chisora 2 times already. He beat him 2 times. We're not asking for this fight. We didn't ask for this fight. So now we're getting this fight, a third fight between Tyson Fury and Chisora. We didn't ask for something we didn't ask for, but hey, we're getting it. So it is what it is, right? So they'll be fighting on December 3rd, and Crawford is going to be fighting Spence. Well, no, not going to be fighting Spence. He's going to be fighting Avanesyan. Crawford Spence is off, and I'm not surprised about that. So we're going to see what happens as this stuff continues, man. And once again, I just want to remind you guys once again, like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification. I'm saying, appreciate you guys for coming by. And I just wanted to say this real quick. I don't think my boys is going to get on. Sometimes they get on up to the last minute, but not this time. I don't think that's going to happen. So, looks like they kind of busy doing what they were doing. I think Rob has a training thing going on, but till next time, we'll see what happens in the world of boxing. And, we know we're not going to get the fights that we want to get at the end of the year. So I guess we're just going to have to settle for this. And then we also have Jake Paul versus who's he fighting? Jake Paul is fighting Anderson Silva. He's fighting Anderson Silva. But I'm not even going to do a breakdown for that because Anderson Silva, he's a great UFC fighter, but he's not a real boxer. So it's not too much of a breakdown that I'm going to do for that. But so we have that fight. We have Crawford-Avanesyan, and we have Fury-Chisora. So we'll see what happens. But, you know what I'm saying? Until next time, y'all be easy out there. And y'all be blessed. Until next time, I'm out. Peace.